So we have cadets and staff and faculty who can speak on multiple disciplinary perspectives that would interest you. Drone swarms, electric batteries, molecular brain science, engineering, psychology, philosophy, law, Chinese language. But that's just the start. I think this one's particularly relevant because we can even cover the intense science of boxing with our world-class Department of Physical Education, just in case, you never know, some random head of state challenges you to a fight.
You know, I did challenge Putin to a one-on-one combat.
Did he take it?
No. And then I was like, I actually, on, the FK Twitter, I said, I hereby challenge Vladimir Putin to one-on-one combat. And I made sure to use his name in Russian Cyrillic, and then I said, and the stakes are Ukraine, and the use for Ukrainian Cyrillic, and then the people thought I wasn't serious. I'm like, no, I'm absolutely serious. I mean, he does have he has he's good at judo, I hear, and I think it would be. I mean, the pay-per-view alone on that would be incredible.
I could get everybody in here to start chanting 2 men in or 1 man leaves.
Yeah.
2 men in or 1 man leaves.
So I'd watch that and I'm in it.
So I will tell you that our 31st superintendent, Douglas MacArthur, once said there's no substitute for victory.
Yeah.
And when it comes to fighting, it's not just our military, but it's also the whole country and the whole industrial base.
Yes.
That's so important. And you've innovated across so many areas, whether it's beneath our surface to outer space and everything in between. And we're, again, truly, truly grateful for you to be here as we start to talk about some of these things that you've been working on. And as you look into the audience, I just want to give you a bit of context. A lot of these are the leaders who will face our nation's most complex and difficult challenges going forward. We have our cadets who will serve as Army officers leading hundreds and eventually thousands of soldiers through this complexity that we talk about. And we also have our faculty and who are preparing them to do just what I just said, lead through these complex situations. And many of our faculty will also re-enter the Army and be required to lead. Thank you for taking the time to help us think deeper and inform us as we start to inform our cadets on how we can be successful, not just fighting, but winning in the contemporary and future battle space. So let me start with this broad question. How do you see warfare transforming in the future?
I mean, the biggest effect, I think, by far is AI and drones. So the next, well, in fact, the current war in Ukraine is very much a drone war already. It's sort of a contest between Russia and China to see who can deploy the most number of drones. Now, if there's a major power war, it's very much going to be a drone war. It's going to be drones and AI, and it's a sort of. I mean, I do worry about the existential risk of AI, which is that if you employ AI and drones, do you go down this path where eventually you get to Terminator? Try to avoid that.
That'd be good.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Minimize the Terminator risk. But I mean, essentially, when you're making military drones, you are making Terminators, and when I think you'll somewhat be forced into giving the drone localized AI, because if the AI is far away, it can't control as well as localized AI. So.
What do you mean by localized AI?
Meaning it's autonomous killing machine.
Completely autonomous.
Well, you give it the okay in a particular arena, and it goes
with certain parameters.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Do you think our adversaries will have those same type of concerns or limitations?
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on how much existential risk there is in these wars. So if it's a regional war, I think it'll be more tempered. If it goes beyond a regional war, then it's all bets are off, and then you start deploying things that you really wouldn't want to deploy. So hopefully, that doesn't happen.
But you said it, and I would agree that if you just look at the contemporary conflicts that are taking place, you would agree that machines aren't just disrupting warfare, they're now commonplace.
Drones are going to be overwhelmingly the what matters in any between, any powers that have significant technology. It's so. My personal belief is like that you really, it'll actually be, I think, probably too dangerous to have humans at the front. It's drones at the front.
And it's too dangerous.
Drones don't miss.
Because of the lethality, then. It's
Yes.
too dangerous to have humans at the front.
Yes, if you've seen some of the computer-controlled sniper rifles, they just don't miss. So you're fighting a machine that's gonna, aim with micron-level accuracy, and never gets tired.
So how do you think the United States should be leveraging technology to further our national defense?
Well, I think we probably need to invest in drones. The United States is strong in terms of the technology of the items, but the production rate is low. So it's a small number of units, relatively speaking, but with basically, I think there's a production rate issue. Like the rate, if you say like how fast can you make drones? It's like if you say there's a drone conflict, the outcome of that drone conflict will be how many drones does each side have in that particular skirmish times the kill ratio. So if you've got, you can have let's say the United States would have a set of drones that have a high kill ratio, but then the other side has far more drones. If you've got a 2-to-1 kill ratio, the other side has 4 times as many drones, you're still going to lose.
Do you think our industrial base can scale to make the volume of drones that you're talking about?
I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. That is, it can scale, but it is not currently scaling.
And why would that be?
I think the procurement is still. I read a lot of military history and actually the thing that I go to sleep with is usually an audio book on military history of one kind or another. So I find the subject very interesting. And one of the things that tends to happen is that countries pretty much are geared up to fight the last war, not the next war. And it's hard to change. If you look at the uniforms at the start of World War I and the tactics and strategies they used at the start of World War I, they were not significantly different from the Napoleonic era. The French were marching into war with brightly colored uniforms. Look great. That's not what you want to be. When somebody's trying to point a gun at you, you don't want a great looking uniform. You want a uniform that blends in. So there's a tendency to be gearing up to fight the last war. And the last war the U.S. fought was kind of the Cold War, I guess. So it usually takes like some kind of shock factor to adjust. I would recommend adjusting now. And you are seeing some startups like Anduril and a few others that have a different mindset. But it's really, it's going to be, can you make a lot of drones? And what's the kill ratio? That's what it comes down to.